Okay, today in IM1 we're going to talk about parallel lines and transversals. So we're going to change the lines, make them parallel, and then it's going to create a whole new set of things that we need to understand. But you still are going to use those terms that we learned in the last unit, but now they apply to parallel lines. Okay, so if we look at this, angle 1 and angle 5 are corresponding angles. Okay, so we know that. How are angle 3 and angle 6? Angle 3 and angle 6 are alternate interior angles. Angle 2 and angle 7 are alternate exterior angles. Okay, and I'm okay with you abbreviating angles like that. How are 4 and 6 related? They are consecutive interior angles. And how are P and Q related? Well, look right here. You can see the parallel symbol. Okay? So, what is this going to mean when they are parallel? All right. So, the corresponding angle theorem. If two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, then the pair of corresponding lines are congruent. So, that makes 2 and 6 congruent. And we would write angle 2 equals angle 6, angle 3 equals angle 7, etc. There are 4 pairs of corresponding sides here. 2 and 6, 1 and 5, 7 and 3, and 4 and 8. Okay? All right. Then we're going to talk about alternate interior angles. So remember, these are congruent. Alternate interior angles, if two parallel lines are cut by a transversal. So what changed in our relationships is that the lines are parallel. So this is only true, the congruency is only true if they're parallel. Okay, so then the pairs of alternate interior angles are congruent. So 3 equals 6 and 5 equals 4. Then we talk about alternate exterior angles. And if two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, then the pairs of alternate exterior angles are congruent. So that would be 2 and 7 and 8 and 1. Okay, so now we've got all congruencies. Here's where things change. Okay, so we know that corresponding angles are congruent, alternate interior angles are congruent, alternate exterior angles are congruent. So what do we know about consecutive interior angle theorem? So if two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, then the pairs of consecutive interior angles are supplementary. So angle 4 plus angle 6 equals 180 degrees, and angle 3 plus angle 5 equals 180 degrees. Okay, so that's what we know about consecutive interior angles. All right, so identifying angles. The measure of 3 of the number angles are 120. Which angles are those? So here's how you do it. First, I know that this is a corresponding angle to 5. Okay, so now I know that angle 5 is 120. Then I'm going to say, well, 5 is an alternate interior angle to 4, and therefore 4 is 120 degrees. And 5 is also a vertical angle to 8, which is 120 degrees. So now I've got my 4 angles. But before I did anything, I should have verified that there is a relationship because they are parallel. So don't forget to verify that relationship first, and then calculate the measure of the remaining angles. So does it matter which theorem you use? No. The only thing that matters is that the theorem applies. For example, you could use corresponding angle theorem to show 5 equals 120 like I did. And then, or you could use the vertical angle theorem to show that angle 4 equals 120. And then show that angle 8 equals, this could be alternate exterior angles. So all of those applied, okay? Can you use the same theorem every time in every problem? As long as the theorem applies. For example, you could use supplementary angles to show that angle 3 equals 60. This is a linear pair, so this equals 60. And then angle 2 would equal 60 by vertical angle theorem. Or I could say that these are a linear pair, and so it equals 60. So on and on you could find out. The main thing is it has to apply, okay? So that's the key. Okay, so you're going to use, do 1 through 4 on page 284. I'm asking you to solve angle 1 first in every case and give the rule that justifies your answer. So first thing I'm going to do with angle 1. Angle 1 equals 110 by the alternate interior angle theorem. So to find angle 2, it also equals 110 by the vertical angle theorem. Okay, because they're vertical angles. Okay, over here, I want to find the measure of angle 1 first, so that's a vertical angle. Okay, so then to find angle 2, now I could do it two ways. I could say angle 2 equals 95 by corresponding angles, or I could say angle 2 equals angle 1 by alternate exterior angles. So remember, you've got lots of options. Okay, solve for number 1 first. So angle 1, corresponding angles. And then I could say angle 1 and angle 2 are a linear pair. Or I could use the rule that these two are consecutive interior and are supplementary. So angle 2 equals 117. So I could use the linear pair postulate if I use angle 1 and angle 2, or I could use the consecutive interior angle theorem. Okay, either one. Okay, over here I've got angle 1 and angle 101. So I could find that by vertical angles. I could use corresponding angles to say that angle 2 equals 101, or I could use angle 1 is equal to angle 2 by the alternate interior angle theorem. Okay, so either one of those works. Okay, so now we're going to use the properties of parallel lines to find x. So remember, sometimes they'll ask you to find x, sometimes they'll ask you to find the angle measure. So always make sure to find out what they're asking you. Okay, so first I'm going to use vertical angles, and I know that angle 4 equals 115. Then I'm going to say angle 4, which is 115, plus x plus 5 equals 180. So I'm going to combine like terms. I get x plus 120 equals 180. So x equals 60. Okay, that is not the measure of the angle. That is solving for x. So it's not x degrees, it's just x. If I wanted to know the degrees, I would go 60 plus 5. So this angle is 65 degrees. Okay, so that's really important to understand. Okay, and how would you check your answer? So you would go 115 plus 65, and it equals 180, and I'm good to go. Okay, so I know that angle 1 is supplementary to angle 136, so I'm going to use the linear pair postulate, and I go angle 1 plus 136 equals 180. So angle 1 equals 44 degrees. Now, angle 1 and this angle down here are alternate exterior angles, which means they are congruent because these are parallel. So therefore, I can go 44 equals 7x plus 9. And so subtract 9 from both sides. I get 35 equals 7x. So x equals 5. Again, they asked you for x. So that's what we wanted. However, I'm going to check. So 7 times 5 is 35, plus 9 is 44, and that does equal angle 1. Okay, on this one, these are in your journal. I want you to go ahead and solve each one of these, and you're going to justify. Tell me which theorem you used to do each step. So go ahead and push pause and give that a try. Okay, for this first one, I'm going to use the alternate exterior angle theorem. Okay? And that tells me that this is congruent to this, so I just set them equal to each other. And I get x equals 98. Okay, remember, it's not 98 degrees. I'd have to plug that in to figure that out, okay? So this one, I'm going to use alternate interior angle theorem. And that makes these congruent. 10x minus 55 equals 45. I'm going to add 55 to both sides. I get 10x equals 100, so x equals 10. And you can always plug them in and check. Okay, on this one, the first thing I'm going to do is say that angle 6 equals 52 degrees by the corresponding angle theorem. Then I'm going to say angle 6, which is 52, plus 4x equals 180. And that is by the linear pair postulate. So then I'm going to subtract 52 from both sides, and I get 128. And I divide by 4, and I get x equals 32. So I had to use 2 here. Okay, over here, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say that angle 2 plus 153 equals 180. And I'm going to do that using the consecutive interior angle theorem. We know that they are supplementary, right? So then I'm going to subtract 153, and I get 27 degrees. Okay, so angle 22 equals 27. So set with the vertical angle theorem, I can say that angle 2, which is 27, equals 2x minus 3. Add 3 to both sides. 2x equals 30. So x equals 15. Okay, so again, I had to use 2 separate theorems for this one. So here is your exit ticket. Okay, so here's your exit ticket for 10.2. And you're going to be finding angle 2 right here. Read the instructions. You're going to tell me what is the measure of angle 2 and then the theorem that you used. Over here, make sure you pay attention to the parallel lines. You're going to find x, and then you're going to tell me the theorem used, and then you're going to do y and find the theorem used. So good luck. Take care.